mentioning Jules Horne's autobiography. How does it feel to see your name in someone else's book?
I haven't had a look at it yet. Is it good? Is what it says about me? Well, the thing is, I've been with Jules for 16 years, you know. Yeah. So I guess that, you know, some of the experiences that we share were bound to kind of crop up in there, you know. So yeah, it's kind of nice because obviously he had a whole life before the Rhythm and Blues Orchestra because he was in Squeeze. So he could have actually sort of written the whole book just on that. So it's kind of nice that it included some of the Rhythm and Blues Orchestra as well. So yeah, I was quite chuffed. My mum was quite thrilled about it, so I think, you know, so it keeps her happy.
So how did you meet, and have you been friends for an age?
Yeah, we both, over the years, we both worked for a music company, Yamaha, as like sort of endorsees of their products. And we got thrown together completely at random on a project, on like a MIDI project, doing MIDI files and stuff.
I think we've met in the pub.
Because we sort of knew each other vaguely, yeah, we'd heard of each other, you know. But we got put together on this thing, and it started out like, you know, I've heard about you and I've heard about you, and is it going to be competitive and what's going to happen? And like within 5 minutes, it was like we were laughing our heads off and doing stuff. I'm like, you do that? Oh, I do a bit of that, and it was just an instant. So, you know, we just...
So you just clicked?
Straight away, yeah.
It's like a marriage.
Yeah, a bad marriage.
Harry's wife, you know, sort of refers to me as his sort of...
His other third.
Yeah.
Oh, right. So it's like a triangle.
No, well, I'm married as well, but...
You thought about saying threesome for a second.
Yeah.
It's like a triangle.
Yeah.
You can edit that out, can't you?
Yeah.
What is the best venue you played at?
Best venue? I mean, I've played at the Albert Hall, I've played at, you know, sort of played festivals to 70,000 people, but still, the best venue is Ronnie Scott's Club in London. It's a small, intimate atmosphere, but it is the classic jazz club, you know. That's without doubt.
I'd probably say the Albert Hall, simply because of the gig that I did, which was like the first chance I got to do solo piano to that. The venue you've seen all your life as a kid on telly so many times, to actually play there with my mum in the audience and have it packed out and an orchestra on stage and just playing was just, hearts going like that.
Who is the best person you've played with?
Wow.
Ooh.
Other than Lee, obviously.
That's a very hard question because you get different things from different people. I mean, when I was younger, I used to go and see a band called Morrissey Mullen with a guitarist called Jim Mullen. Yeah, and you know, for me, playing with Jim in his band was just like the best experience, because as a kid I used to go and see him playing. And I think that carries through with you know, a lot of musicians that we get to work with. You know, I had a few jazz musicians' autographs. You know, when I was sort of 18, 19, you know, I sort of go around and see these guys playing. I had their autographs, and now, you know, they're coming to my wedding and things like that. You know, and that's a real buzz when they become your friends. So it's difficult because we've worked with all sorts of stars and famous people, but actually the people I've most enjoyed performing with are probably not guys that, you know, whose names you'd recognise. Would you say? I mean, we've had a lot of fun working with people like Johnny Vaughan and on the Big Breakfast and TV shows like that.
It's so hard to say who is the one, isn't it? I mean, there's a few musicians, like Jim Mullen would definitely be one of mine, playing with him, and you know, there's a sax player called Alan Barnes who I play with. It's just a kind of, you just remember moments of going like, you are such a genius as you're playing, and it's almost like you want to stop and sit there and listen to what the other guy's doing. And, I have moments like that playing with Simon where I just stop and go, you know, well, it sounds like I'm, you know, crawling all over him, but you do get it. And with all the guys here, I mean, like Chris the drummer and Dave the guitarist, they're sensational players. You know, for me, who comes from a more cabaret.
Player as well.
Yeah, sorry, I knew it was someone else. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I kind of had a cabaret background. A lot of these guys are much more kind of jazz oriented, and I was doing more solo piano or playing in theatres and stuff. So to suddenly come and play with these jazz legends and people like that, half the time, so you know. All of them. I love them all.
Right, you've been playing with so many people. So who did you most enjoy playing with on stage?
Funny enough, one of the least known people, you probably haven't heard of him, a guy called Lewis Taylor. And he's one of the hidden secrets of this country. He's got a fantastic voice. He's had about 4 or 5 albums out. He records them all in his bedroom. And all kinds of people want to work with him. Elton John's a big fan of his and whatever. But for some reason he hasn't got a major record deal, and he's not doing that well at the moment. But his music is incredible. He plays everything. He plays guitar, bass and drums, and he taught me a hell of a lot about guitar playing.
Okay. What do you like most about playing the drums?
What do I like most about playing the drums? There's only one of you in the band, and you can pretty much explore and be quite creative with things that you play. Obviously, depending on what musical genre you're playing in, you can pretty much make it your own and kind of make things up as you go along, really, within the parameters of that genre that you're playing in.
Have you played quite a few gigs together then?
Loads, yeah.
Probably, yeah, 4 figures, I should think.
So what was your favourite gig to play together like?
Hard.
Yeah. I think probably one of the TV things, we used to do a programme called The Big Breakfast.
Yeah, that was...
Yeah.
And we did the Millennium Big, they called it the biggest breakfast ever. And that was quite a gig because it was full of, you know, a who's who of celebrities, but also, you know, it was the biggest breakfast show ever.
It was all the music was improvised.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you weren't allowed to play any songs because they didn't have clearance, you know, so they get charged a fortune if you play something. So you just had, if they say, they just turn to you randomly and say, play some music for the Unicycle Man, you know, and you go, right, okay, Latin, B flat, 2, 3, 4, off you go. Just have to make it up. So it was fun, all living on your toes the whole time.
Yeah, and what do you think you would be doing if you weren't involved in music, Carl?
On the dole, maybe, I don't know. No, I've thought about this before, and I'd quite like to be involved in sort of the healing side of things, like either homeopathy or even massage, or something where you can improve people's lives, you know, in an hour or so, just a couple of visits or whatever. Also gives you a lot of freedom to do, you know, what you want to do.
Yeah, so that's, would you say they were your career goals as well?
No, I always wanted to be a musician from a very early age. I just wanted to be a musician. And
but you have to have a backup plan, don't you?
Well, my parents always said that, but I never really did. I toyed with being a journalist, a photographer, you know, or whatever, but no.
Obviously, your Bill's on bassist, so you've probably been playing loads of places. What would be your favourite venue to play at?
It's kind of it's quite difficult. I'm not quite sure if I had a favourite one, but I mean there have been some that are quite memorable. I mean we played at the Millennium Dome on Millennium Night in front of the Queen and Tony Blair. That was pretty cool. But probably, you know, the Royal Albert Hall, which we do a couple of gigs there each year, and it's the one hometown gig that we do. Most of our gigs are abroad or different parts of the country. You know?
Yeah.
And there's something about the Royal Albert Hall. You actually kind of feel it's such a prestigious building. It's got such a great history to it. You actually, when you play there, you actually kind of feel as though all your hard work has been worthwhile, because it actually does make you feel really good being there. You know, it's a fantastic sort of venue. You know? So yeah, it just makes all the work worthwhile. You know. But having said that, you know, it's great to play in small clubs as well. You know, that kind of really intimate setting. You know, sometimes that can be really a lot of fun. You know. But yeah, so probably the Albert Hall, I would say.
What is it like to play on Big Band Week on the X Factor?
That was a lot of fun. We had 3 days rehearsal. The first day being with just the musicians. We kind of got to grips with the music, rehearsed it, and then the artists came in. The final 10 artists came in the second day. We rehearsed with them, and then the show went out. We had to play live. It's always quite daunting playing on live TV. But yeah, the show went great, and it was really good fun.